I need some headphones, microphone. I think we're live. Oh, okay, I see it live. Yes,
I'm
we
on the
are
radio at the same
live.
time.
Yes. Okay, awesome. Well, we are live with T. Roy from 93.3 The Beat. We are so excited. Invite you to join us on Facebook Live to this session of Ask Rhonda, your candidate for Duval County Court Judge Group 6. And we are super excited. We have an amazing, exciting night tonight that is going to be filled with fun, but education and empowerment. So I am going to just take a moment and welcome T. Roy. I know that there are several of you that are now going to be joining and jumping up and down inside like I am. But T. Roy, we are so excited. Thank you for everything you do in our community. And I'm turning it over to you.
Oh, the man, thank you so much for letting me be a part of this. And thank you for letting me just join in. I mean, I learned a lot yesterday when we were talking on the radio, and I think that gave me a better display of what we could do today. So I was
Yeah.
kind of like, yo, this is going to be dope. And I think a lot of people really don't know how great you really are. And I definitely hope we can showcase that and make sure everybody's on the same page and understanding that early voting is still open. So
Yes.
please, early vote. You got until the 16th. Go ahead and get your vote in. Don't wait to the last minute. And but I don't know how you want to kick this off. I figured I was like, I really just want, I guess, you to tell everybody about who Rhonda Waters is, because that was the Rhonda Peoples Waters. Like, that was the thing I was posting on my Instagram, who you are. And people were like, yo, I didn't know all this stuff until they logged on to your link or logged on to your webpage. And then, I
Yes.
got a big response of people who were shocked that they were like, oh my God, we got a first African American candidate who is elected, who is running, and I'm glad you showcased this, because a lot of people
Yes.
weren't aware. So it's like, who
Yes.
is Rhonda Peoples Waters for those who might not know?
Yes, well, thank you again so much for this opportunity and just the opportunity to broadcast how important this election is, how important this moment in time is. I am again Rhonda Peoples Waters, your candidate for Duval County Court Judge Group 6. I've been a practicing attorney for over 20 years in this community. I've run my own law firm for over 12 years, where we have done so many things like we do a lot of family law, probate law, criminal law, personal injury law. I got an amazing text this morning that hopefully I'll be able to share from just one of the persons that has that we were able to help years ago, and they are soaring and doing successfully. And that is just one of the beauties of practicing. And when you really have a heart and you care about people, seeing them soar and being able to, come from rough tracks and make it to where they should be in society. But that is exactly why I'm running for judge, because I have been a community servant and leader in this community. And so because that has been the history that I've shown, it is just a natural progression to be a leader in the courtroom and help to make the decisions that hopefully will impact people's lives for the good. So I'm so excited that we have this opportunity, and it should never be the case, and it won't be the case again after we win this election in 2020. But today we have to say that this will be the first time that we ever elect an African American female judge, and I'm so glad that we'll be done and have closed that door so that so many others can run and show our brilliance in law. So thank you so much for this opportunity.
Why is this important to you? Because like you've been doing this for 20 years, and I was like, dang, I've been on the radio for 20 years. So it's like we're running neck and neck. And I'm
Yes.
like, why is it so important for you now, not just to go from law to go to sitting in the judicial seat? Why is that important to you right now?
Well, first of all, to whom much is given, much is required, and it requires sacrifice. Just to be candid with you, as an attorney, most of us would make more money practicing law than you ever would sitting in a judicial seat. and being a governmental service. But you really have to have the heart for people. And I know that it is important for us to have people who really care about our community making these life-altering decisions. It is important that we have diversity on the bench, T. Roy. We have 55 circuit and county court judges, and 5 of those are African American. But you think about the fact that the African American community is 30% of Duval County, but we certainly don't have a bench that is reflective of the community. So that's why some of us are going to have to jump up and make these sacrifices.
And I don't think a lot of people understand, like, with doing law and doing this type of law right here, what we said this yesterday. I asked, what
it froze up a little bit. Can you hear me?
Say it again.
Okay, I'm sorry. My computer may have froze a little bit. Would you ask the question again?
It's that, what it is? It's that storm that's around here.
Okay.
Yeah, it's that storm that's around here. People don't realize that rain and that thunder going on. But
yes.
no, I mean, like, we were talking about this yesterday, and I felt like this was a great point to ask and the things you handle. What is your day-to-day when doing this?
Yes. So as a county court judge, we would handle misdemeanor cases, and that is criminal tickets, traffic tickets, anything under a year as far as a penalty. If you get a traffic ticket or have any type of petty theft, things like that. You also in civil court will handle matters that are under $30,000 that are in dispute. It may be an eviction, a landlord tenant situation where it's a determination, and that's a very hot topic right now because there are so many people that can't afford to pay their rent. And we know that there was this moratorium and a stoppage on putting people out from our governor. But at some point, there will be some decisions that have to be made on whether or not people will be evicted. So all of those are major life-altering issues that would come before a county court judge. Look like we're frozen again, the storm. Are you live? I think you muted, T. Roy. Let's see. And one of the questions is, how many women judges are on the bench, and why is it important to elect African-American judges? How many women judges are on the bench, and why is it important to elect African-American judges? Hold on 1 second. I think T. Roy is frozen. And at this point, there are 2 African-American female judges in our circuit and / county. And we have 2 African-American female judges. So out of 55 circuit and county court judges, there are 5 that are African-American, and 2 are African-American females. And those perspectives are incredibly important. The variety of perspectives. And you want the perspective of African-American females because we have a different maybe experiences that we can bring. Those different experiences and perspectives will just add, we believe, substance to the law and the circumstances that must be reviewed. It may not change a necessary outcome. We don't know that, but having different views and perspectives, having those African-American females as mentorships, it is important. It is important that others be inspired when they see African-American females. Maybe it'll be someone that looks like them, that inspires them to go into law. And maybe that was an experience that they would not have had, but for this opportunity to see one in our judicial circuit. So I am so excited that we will open the doors to more diversity on the bench. And I see T. Roy is connecting again, so that's good. But we know, T. Roy, you back with us?
Yes, I'm back.
Yay!
I don't know what happened, but it froze.
That's all right. This is electronics, and we understand how that technology works.
Do something quick. That'll work better. There we go. All right.
Okay.
I don't know if you can see me.
I cannot. But we definitely can hear you. And we saw you for a brief second. And while he's joining us, one of the questions is, how will having judges that reflect the population help solve the problem with social racism or societal racism? And I definitely believe that we address a lot of the societal perceptions of why are minorities not on the bench? Are they not educated? Are they not competent and brilliant enough? Are we as minorities completing law school and having these opportunities? T. Roy, you're back. Yay.
Yeah. I'm back. Okay, I'm sorry about
good.
that. You know what, man? This storm over here kind of knocked all this internet and everything down. So, you know, that's what was slowing me up earlier, but that's not going to stop the movement.
That's right. Let's go.
The movement. That's not going to stop. Now, hold on. I don't know where you left off, but I want to get back to just saying what we were talking about earlier. And my question was earlier, I was just asking, you know, yesterday when we talked, we had a lot to talk about. And the biggest thing I was concerned was, you know, learning your everyday. I don't think a lot of people understand what is it your seat and your job entails and the reason you're running for this position.
Yes. Well, this is a county court judge seat, and we call it the People's Court because it is the courtroom that will likely impact everybody, everyday people in Duval County. So you'll have, like I said before, driving, traffic citations. That's what's covered in county court. You'll have eviction issues. And we know that that's a hot topic right now. There are a lot of people that are being evicted. People can't afford to pay their rent. Landlords saying, hey, I can't afford to keep you here if you're not going to be able to pay the rent. So those type of issues that are very prevalent in the lives of everyday people are the type of cases that we would handle. And I am committed to this. The driving force for me is my service to the community. And I know that we have to have people that are willing to make the sacrifice, who are regular, everyday servants of this community that are willing to lay aside their own personal, maybe ambitions and drivers to say, I'm ready to sacrifice for this community so that we'll have people that are on this bench that have real life experiences that they can apply to my case.
Now, yesterday I've been looking at my DMs today, and the biggest thing was people were asking me if they are convicted felon, about getting their rights renewed or what can they do. And they were like, yo, what do I need to do? Because they're having that hurdle if they're a convicted felon trying to get their rights reinstated, because, that's what they're supposed to be doing this year. And the difficulties of that, can you tell people what they can get, how they can get started and getting moving that forward?
Yes, and I'll tell you that I have worked on restoration of civil rights for years, long before this election, because I knew that it was important that once people finish their actual time or sentence, that they have their civil rights restored, which includes voting, which includes being able to get a business license so that they can open up a barbershop or whatever type of business it is and get back on their feet. And so obviously we are in this legal triangle that's going on where even though the citizens passed the Amendment 4 that said that once the completion of a sentence has occurred, then persons, convicted felons or returning citizens can have their rights restored. Well, now there's this confusion about whether their sentence is completed, if they're still on probation, or if they have fees that are owed from restitution and fines. And what we are telling everybody is to contact, first of all, the supervisor of elections and register. Go and register. And there is a process that will determine whether or not you will make it through that entire process and be able to finalize your registration. But go ahead and register. Melissa Nelson, the state attorney's office here, has basically said they're not going to prosecute. They understand that there's this confusion here. And we also have several other options through the Jacksonville NAACP and other organizations all across the state of Florida. They are paying restitution that is owed. So even if you think there is money that's owed, you can confirm that with the clerk of courts. There are people that are willing to pay those fees to make sure that our returning citizens can register. So we are just asking people to go to the supervisor of elections and make sure you begin that process.
Now, is there a difference of felony convictions in Florida? I mean, when people do have felonies, are there different levels or tiers to it or something like that?
It is. So with this first level here, that is kind of an automatic restoration. It can't be sex offenses or violent sex or murder offenses that will be at an automatic level. Anything else will fall into that, and you should be able to say you have automatic restoration. Other than that, there will be a clemency process and a much more detailed process to get your rights restored.
Now, why is it so important right now for people to understand that we need diversity in the judicial system, and we need people who look like me and you who can actually relate? Why is this is such a high what do you say, a high conversation to have? Because a lot of people don't understand that there's not a lot of us. You said it earlier, out of the 55 people, there's only 5 of color. So why does people need to realize that, hey, your voice is really needed this time?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I think that this moment in time matches what my movement and protest has been for now over 11 years since I have been applying. I've applied 16 times through our local JNC, and my name was sent up to the governor over 13 times to tell the governor that I am qualified, and we've got to have people who have diverse backgrounds make it to the bench that will make these decisions. And the reason why it's important is when you have diversity on the bench, you have diversity of thought. You may have someone from my background who says, wait just a minute, are there any other alternatives before convicting this young man of, even if it's a simple petty theft? A petty theft will affect you for the rest of your life. If you're trying to get a job and someone says, wow, well, you stole, that popcorn or whatever it was from Walmart years ago, we can't trust you back into the professional environment. And if we can avoid having those type of convictions, or have young African Americans who are traditionally left out of those type of diversion programs that will allow the charges to be dropped and later expunged from your history, we got to have people who are going to say, well, did you explore this option? Because many of the defendants don't know for themselves to look out for these opportunities. And so some of us are gatekeepers, and because we have this wisdom, it will really benefit those who are in our judicial system for years and professions to come.
Now, you said something to me that made me really be like, hold up, 13, 16 times you done ran this flag up the pole, and why hasn't it gone through? What's been the hurdle to stopping it? And I really feel like this is your year now. I feel like this is your year.
Well, thank you. And yes, we are claiming it. And you know what? That's one of the things that I often hear, and I want to make sure that I'm clear to people that people say, well, Rhonda, what is it about you that has not allowed you to make it through these processes? Well, I first want to say that there's nothing wrong with me. There's nothing about us and our qualifications. We are uniquely qualified. What it is the system that we have to break down. And it's a system that says that I will promote and pat on the back someone that has a connection to me or a connection to the governor. That is who I'll put into these seats, or their dads owe me, and I owe them. And so we're going to let his son, who's never tried a case, make it to these seats versus people who are very qualified. And it's this type of system that we have got to break through that will allow all of us an opportunity at the table.
Now, this opportunity at the table is a serious one. And, there's probably a lot of people who are young or might be voting for the first time or trying to understand this. And, I was very adamant about helping and being involved with President Barack Obama when he was running for office. I started just absorbing the information of what I need to do to help this man sit in this seat. And, what is it you would tell even this younger generation? Because, a lot of people get discouraged. A lot of people feel like, oh, my vote don't count, or this don't go on. And a lot of people don't pay attention to these this bottom of the ballot, and they only wait till the election, which is coming up in 89 days in November. That's the only thing they care about, but they fail to realize how important selecting these people to be in the courts, the superintendents and state representatives. This is an important election right here. And why do we have to reiterate that to this younger generation? Me and you know how important it is, but we have to reiterate that.
Yes, you're right. And this is a great forum to educate them. So thank you again, T. Roy, for letting us, lift up your name and reputation to bring attention to this. We are telling them that local elections most directly impact your life, whether your license is going to be suspended, again, on eviction issues and things like that. And that isn't a federal issue. That is locally. And the judicial races are at the very bottom of your ballot. So we have to tell people, start from the bottom of your ballot and let our society know that I understand now what is most important. And these judicial elections are very important to me. They're going to impact whether I get a job, what kind of job I get for the rest of my life, depending on which judge is sitting in a seat, and sometimes the outcome of those cases. So we're telling people to start from the bottom of the ballot, work their way up, and we've got to get our young people that are so energized right now. They are on, 200 to find out what they can do to change this community so that the situation will not be the same for their children. And this is a perfect example when we're talking about these judicial elections. You got to go out and early vote, right now. And I know we'll be talking about that, but this is the opportunity. There is no longer any excuse that we have to wait.
Now, and that's why I want to talk about early voting now, because people don't realize that you can early vote. You can go to the polls right this second, go to the libraries by you and vote. You don't have to wait until August 18th to make your voice heard. And why do you think a lot of people get discouraged on early vote? Because I'm an early voter. I don't like to wait till the last minute. If you can go and early vote from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., why wouldn't you do it every day instead of trying to rush on the day of?
Yes, yes. And we've gone to several of the early voting sites, and there are 18 of those, I believe. Remember, if you go to any early voting site, and you can go to DuvalElections.com, and you can see the list of early voting sites. We'll have it up on our pages as well. You can go to any one. You don't have to go to your specifically assigned polling place during early voting. And it's from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And it will be running from now through August the 16th. We've got to make some massive efforts to go. There's no wait, very little wait. If you go in, you're pretty much going to be in and out within 5 or 10 minutes, because there are not very many things on the ballot, but it is so important. And again, this is a historic election. So you want to be a part of it. You want to be a part of every time our polls are open, because people died for the right to vote. And so we cannot take these opportunities for granted and say, oh, this is just an August primary. You know, we should not be okay with having 15 or 18% turnout when we're talking about the decisions that will impact our lives.
Why do you think we have such a low turnout? I mean, I know for a fact I talk about voting a lot on my show. I'm always reminding people. I always get the information that's service to me, such as what you've sent me. And why do you think a lot of people do not turn out to these type of elections? And they don't realize these are the elections that are going to impact them the most over having the president, but you know, the judges and the city council and the state representatives, those are the people who are supposed to be speaking for us. Those are the people who are supposed to be representing us. And I don't think a lot of people understand the importance. So why do you think we have a low turnout?
I definitely believe it correlates to the lack of education, the lack of understanding. We all know it's real important when we get a ticket or when we get a jury duty summons to go to court. We're like, oh my gosh, that's important. But we don't connect that to, well, guess what? Because that's so important, then you've got to decide who's going to make the decisions in that courthouse. And that comes from August primaries. And I'll tell you that there are many sectors of this community that has gotten that for a long time, but specifically in the African-American community, I do not believe that that education has been well communicated and taught, and we've got to accept some of the blame, and that's why we're correcting it now.
I mean, with that being said, and how many, like, once you get into the seat, how long are judges usually in seats?
The terms are 6 years, but let me tell you that especially here in Duval County, we have this climate where once you get into that seat, you are rarely going to be contested. So it's almost like a lifetime seat. And technically, you could stay in this seat until now the age of 75. And we don't traditionally challenge incumbents. And we have to change that mindset. And we've got to tell people that these are not seats that you're entitled to because your dad was a judge or your mom was a judge. These are the people's seats. And every time that there is an election, the people's voices should be heard to make sure that we're holding our judges accountable. Just like we do with our presidential elections, we should say, we want to hold you accountable, and that's how we're going to be heard. So every 6 years is when these seats come up for election. And then we know that the other process is through the appointment process, and that can change the timing just slightly.
What do you think has been like the most difficult thing with you running during this time, or the hurdles that you had to go through, and just convincing, or not even convincing people, but educating people on why the importance of voting for the first African-American woman to be in this seat, yet alone a woman be in this seat? You know,
yeah.
Why do you think it's been such a hard hurdle?
It's been a huge hurdle, partly as a minority running, because it requires you to sacrifice the practice and the running of your business. And that means you're losing money, you're not making money, you're going against the grain of many of the, you know, good old boy systems that say, hey, you know, you want to come and work and practice in front of us, but now you're starting up, you know, kind of this tension about now people are going to start challenging us. So it's going against that mindset and saying, no, we're having a new day here in Duval County. Those have been the biggest challenges, just to have the courage to say that we're standing with righteousness, even if that means that I have to, you know, take some of this windfall and willing to make that sacrifice. And I'm hopeful that it will encourage not just minority attorneys, but other attorneys to do this as well. And T-Roy, I have to say that we also have this culture in Duval County that if you are a prosecutor and you've done nothing else, then you will make a good judge. And we have to disrupt that thought. My opponent has only been a prosecutor for 11 years before the governor appointed her. Whereas I have a background of a defense attorney in the criminal world, as well as running my own law firm, doing personal injury, family law, probate law. And that type of diversity is important. We have got to stop saying that the only type of work that makes you a good judge is if you prosecuted people your entire career. So that's another important aspect of why we've got to really start looking into the background of our judicial candidates.
Why do you think a lot of people don't look into the background? Why don't you think a lot of people take the time to even educate themselves? Because, you know, I was looking at the ballot myself. You know, I got the early ballot and I came in the mail and I was looking, and it's not a lot of people on there. But then, like I said, I saw you right there, group 6. And I'm like, oh, okay, Rhonda Peoples Waters. And then I started educating myself because I was like, yo, I've heard this name. I know this name. Let me see what's going on with her. And then I started seeing, and then when we started talking, I was like, yo, I really got to be adamant in giving these people the education and understanding how important it is, not just to have a diversity or a speck of color in this game, but the representation that you're going to have for Jacksonville and what they need to see in that courthouse.
Yes, and it's hard to find some of the information that you may normally see on other candidates, because judicial candidates are somewhat restricted with what we can say and how we can communicate to the constituents, but we can always talk about qualifications. So you've got to be passionate enough to say that this is important enough to me that I'm going to go to www.peoplesforjudge.com and I'm going to research and determine what Rhonda's qualifications are. I don't want to just vote for Rhonda because she's African American. I want to know about why is she qualified? Why has she done more than 75 jury trials and many more trials throughout those diverse areas of law? And understand that she has been a leader with the Jacksonville Area Legal Aid as a chairperson, a leader with the Florida Bar Grievance Committee. I've been president of the D.W. Perkins Bar Association, understanding that my leadership and community involvement will make me a much better jurist and person to make judicial decisions. So I think we may have lost T-Roy again, this doggone storm, but we are going to keep it going. I know that there are some questions that are coming through. So we are going to answer any of the questions. You all send it to us in the chat while T. Roy is coming back. But we're having an amazing time. Let's see, somebody is saying, how can they help? Well, please go to www.peoplesforjudge.com and volunteer. We need your support. And I know that Tabitha is on and she can talk to you all other ways that you all can assist as well. We need help with phone banking. We are making calls. We are dropping literature. We are covering the polls. We are texting. So we are everywhere. You're talking about covering almost 1 million people in this community, and we need your help. T. Roy.
I'll tell you what, man, this phone gets on my nerves.
But that's all right.
You know what's so funny? It's one thing to go from the laptop, then my phone dying, it cuts off in the middle of the thing. I'm trying to get the charger to put it in at the same time. Like, oh, let me get the cord. I done got the cord and plug it in.
That's okay. We're all good times here. We're happy.
But you know, here's one question I was thinking about, and just so we can understand, what does Group 6 represent?
Yes. Well, Group 6 is just the seat designation. It has absolutely no meaning as to a geographical representation. So everybody in Duval County will have this race where you can vote for Rhonda Peoples Waters on your ballot. If you are a registered Duval County voter, you will see this race on your ballot and you will be able to vote.
One thing I will say about you is you are a real fighter. And where do you think you get your fighting spirit from? Because you are a real fighter to keep going, and you know that if people are really paying attention, they listening, that's what you want sitting in the judge seat, or you want to represent you or the people. You know, why are you such an adamant fighter of just doing right for people?
Well, you know what, I'm going to tell you, it's about just my family background. I've told you all this before. At my high school in little old Selma, Alabama, I can visualize the opportunities and the days that I saw my granddad, who was the janitor at my high school, pushing the trash around. And, you know, people would say, wow, Rhonda, is that your granddad? And I go and hug him and love him. And that's what he taught me. He said, you don't worry about what my job is as a janitor. You go and soar. And I ended up becoming the SGA president. My grandmother was a maid. She went to high school with Coretta Scott King. That's all that I've known. My mother has been a teacher for 30 plus years. My father was in the military station here at Mayport. That's all that I know. And I know that everybody doesn't have that type of solid family background. So that means that I've been taught that we've got to do for those who didn't have that background. They still deserve a fighting chance. And the only way they may get it or they may see it is through us. And so that's why, T. Roy, it's burning in my heart that if we don't fight, not for us, because we're gonna be okay, but we gotta do it for something much bigger than us as individuals, then that's how we make this community better. And that's what I love about our campaign too, if I could just add. We have such diversity, a broad spectrum. When you think about conservatives, non-conservatives, I mean, everybody coming together to say that there is one candidate that is the most qualified, and that's Rhonda Peoples Waters.
So what makes you different from the other candidates who are running against you? What makes you different than them?
Yes, well, absolutely. The fact that I've practiced for over 20 years versus her experience of approximately 11 to 12 years only as a prosecutor, whereas I've practiced 11 or 12 years running my own business, hiring employees, and practicing every area of the law, as I've discussed, that a county court judge would handle. So this wouldn't be, oh, I'm going to get the experience on the bench. I've already had that experience and those encounters representing different spectrums of people, not just one group of people. And I think that that's what makes me much different than my opponent. The fact that I've been so involved in this community for years, whereas my opponent has not. And that truly shows the love for service. And we've got to make sure that judges understand that they are servants of the people, that we have an obligation to follow the law to serve people, not people serve us.
Now, when you talk about the people, what have you been seeing coming in and out for the last few years when it comes to the people, like, who would be in front of you? Like, people don't understand, like, you know, a lot of people don't care until they have to go to court. Right. And you know, it's just like the violence in our communities. Nobody cares until it's somebody you know. And now you want to get activated. Now you want to get involved. So it's like, this is the time to get involved. What have you seen that's been affecting our community and even these young folks who are even passing through those walls?
Yes, yes. Well, I'll tell you that I have seen so much, and there's good and there's bad. We can see that there are a lot of juveniles that are coming through our systems that needs direction. And I'll be one of the first ones to tell you that that sometimes means not just rehabilitation, but there's also a punishment aspect of that that may be necessary. And I even had a circumstance where there was a young male who was coming through our system, and the tendency was, oh, just hurry up and, you know, slap him on the hand and we'll just go ahead and close his case. And I was representing him, and I had to say, look, what is his best interest? We can't just let him go. We've got to put some things in place that will really correct and guide him, because he wasn't getting that from his home. So it wasn't going to be a situation where we could just close his file. I knew that if we were going to make sure that we never saw him again in the system, we had to give him some extra tools. And that actually meant kind of a stricter, hands-on type of overseeing and punishment. And they were like, well, why would you want to do that to him? Why don't you just go ahead and get his case done? Because we're not just worried about a right now moment. We want this young man's life to be changed. And I've seen on the other side of that our young men, when you invest in them, that they come out differently, or they rarely see you again in court. And that's the type of investment that I'm willing to make as a judge.
Now, we've been serious for a long time. So I like to have a little bit of fun sometimes and do these hot seat questions, because if you ask people questions that are off the wall, then you can actually just pick apart their personality. And, you know, being that I'm a radio DJ, I always like to ask people what type of music you like to listen to when you get in your car. What if I got in your car right now, what would you probably be listening to?
Ooh, wait.
Oh, don't say you classy ratchet. You like, I'm classy.
I know. Let me tell you, I've been playing quite a few things for my daughter that I'm like, oh, wow. And she's a student at FAM. And I'm like, this is what I've missed out.
Okay.
FAM, quite a bit.
We know how Leon County, them rattlers get down.
I've missed quite a bit of that, but I'm a big Jodeci fan, and I've been listening to a lot of gospel lately. Tasha Cobbs. I just need to keep my mind straight these last few weeks to get me through. So I'll tell you, I am a good mixture, and that's another thing that we've got to be for real with people about, is we are human, we are sincere, we want to have fun. Good, clean, legal fun, but it is nothing wrong with enjoying life. And I love that I've been able to say that that's who I am, and what you see is what you're going to get.
Now, you know, with you saying that enjoying life, we haven't really been able to enjoy it as much as we want because of COVID-19. So, you know, being that we are dealing with COVID-19, like today actually makes 140 some odd days that I've been working from home. I haven't been to the studio. So like, how have you been dealing with the pandemic, and how do you actually get things done with coronavirus going on?
Well, initially we had cut down working from the office, and my staff and everybody was working from home. And we found a way to kind of come back into the office for a large part of it, and especially with the campaign going on, to still achieve things. And even during this campaign, we have been able to go out and meet people. We're trying to make sure that they understand it's important for them to wear their masks, to keep their distance, and we're going to do the same to protect everybody. But we are looking forward to being able to, you know, return to normal. But we got to understand, before we can return to normal, we have got to understand the seriousness of this. And I'm just thankful, you know, even just going outside and walking, you know, little things like that that we took for granted. To me now, that's a luxury, to enjoy our part of the day just by saying we can get out of our house and not have to do much but enjoy, you know, God's creation and natural creation.
What's your favorite what's your favorite day during the week? Because, you know, everybody got a favorite day during the week. Like I personally have a day I hate, which is Mondays. I hate Mondays.
Oh, right,
but
right.
Like, what's your favorite day of the week?
Oh, 100% Fridays. I don't have court on Fridays. It's, you know, it was dress down. Now every day is kind of dress down court. But Fridays, we pretty much know that that's just relaxation. We don't have to really worry about a hearing or preparing for a trial. It's just a day that you get to say, can I catch up on some of this other work and relax, but still get my work done? And it's a fun day because usually you can end the day a little early, come and spend time with family, get ready for your weekend. So hands down, Friday. And I really wish every day could be Friday.
Every day could be Friday.
Yeah.
Shoot, nobody would get no work done. Ain't nobody working on Fridays. They'd be like, they work until noon, and everybody be like, man, I'm just gonna go ahead and stop. So
well, you asked for the truth.
I asked for the truth. Okay, well, since we're talking about the truth, here's a good truth. What's your favorite like junk food? Because I know everybody got a new food that they've been eating or whatever. Like me right now, it's Reese's peanut butter cups. I've been putting them in the freezer, and I've been finding myself eating more Reese's peanut butter cups. And so I was like, let me ask you what your favorite food is, or junk food that you might be going to and dealing with.
French fries, hands down. French fries.
Just who got the best fries?
My own. I can chop them any way you want to have them chopped. I can make them cube. I can make them thick and big or skinny.
Do you got an air fryer? Do you got an air fryer?
No, I don't do air fryer.
You don't got.
I'm straight grease.
Look, no, I'm tell you what. Buy you an air fryer. Go to Oldies this weekend. Go get, they on sale for like $40. I swear to God, that air fryer will change your life. I bought an air fryer. I didn't use it until like 100 days ago. It's just been sitting in my house, but I used it. Man, I'm an air fryer king. So I will tell people, get you an air fryer. And the
French fry will still taste the same. It's good.
With no grease, no, oh man, look, you will, man, an air fryer will change your life. I swear to God. It will change your life. Air fryer will change your life. Air fryers will change your life. So hold on, what's your zodiac sign?
Sagittarius.
Sagittarius, what month is that? That's November. December, November. Yeah. Oh, so what are you, a Christmas baby, around Christmas or early or before?
December 12th.
Oh, December 12th. So yeah, okay. The Sagittarius are good people, man.
Yeah.
They're great people, man. It's for real. So, you know, I always wanted to know this. This is my own personal question, because everybody has a story of something that's they have done in their career that they have experienced, seen, or witnessed that might have gave you a different outlook on things, and you try to apply that. So is there something like a case or something you have came across your desk or you've witnessed that made you take a different approach to things?
Oh my gosh, yes. And I talk about this case quite often because it is the most impactful case in my life. It is the case of the state of Florida versus Cali Adams. And she is an amazing woman but served in the Marines. Her husband was beating her, and she ended up killing her husband. And I say that this case is impactful because it lasted for almost 6 years. She was arrested for murder. She went to jail, and the case lasted. She ended up getting out on an ankle monitor. We had to have several stand your ground hearings to argue why she had the ability to defend herself, and ultimately it ended up costing her husband's life, her children's father. But she had to defend her own life. And I say that because that case took everything we had. We had to hire experts. I mean, we had to have days of hearings and investigations. And in the end, once Melissa Nelson became the state attorney, almost 6 years into that case, we were about to have to make some decisions on whether we were going to have to try it or whether it was going to be dropped. And Melissa Nelson in the state attorney's office dropped those murder charges outright. And that's just a lesson to us that if you keep working and pushing, you can't measure it based on time, but the outcome was much better than we could have ever expected it to be, to have murder charges dropped. And now obviously Ms. Adams is free to go on with her life, even though, you know, it was a very devastating point in her life. And I just use that as a lesson to me that if I keep pushing and I keep working hard, that the outcome for our clients, for our communities will be justice.
What has been the outcome from the people that you've been talking to and encountered in probably the last month? And when you let them know that, hey man, I'm running for this seat and I need your vote, you know, what has been the reaction to that, because of the fact that people are excited now about certain things? And I know the excitement has definitely been coming your way.
It has been. And I'll tell you, it's diverse. It's not just Black folks. You know, it's white folks, it's anybody saying this is an opportunity for all of us to have a seat at the table, and they're welcoming this opportunities. And it's not because I'm Black, it's because we're qualified. And we're saying because we're qualified, we deserve these opportunities to make sure that everybody can know how qualified we are, that we have this brilliance that we should be able to bring to the table. And I'm just glad that I get to be, you know, one of the faces to help us to highlight that qualification is the most significant factor to make sure that diversity and fairness gets us where we need to be.
And we all see what's happening to our country when someone's not qualified for the job.
All right, T-Roy, don't get me in trouble.
But you know, so again, if for everybody who's watching this, early voting is available right now until the 16th. The day to vote is on the 18th, but we're encouraging everybody to go ahead and get it out the way and handle your business. And if you need more details, you can get that. It's all available to you. But then, like, my question is for those who might not have missed or might be jumping in right now, what matters would the county judge handle? Because I know it's the misdemeanors, I know it's the traffic violations, I know it's the evictions. What other things come with that title?
Well, any matter that is in dispute that's at $30,000 or less, like it could be you suing someone and saying that, hey, you owe me $15,000, $20,000, and those type of small claim suits are very important to people, because it's like this is their day to be heard in court. If it's a car accident case and it's the value that's in dispute is under $30,000, you're talking about, you know, possibly giving somebody back their damages or restitution that could put them back on track for the rest of their lives. So it's very important type of cases that we would hear.
What would you want to again address to people who might just be tuning in and might rewatch this, and you know, and just what's the whole message that you want to let people know And you just basically the message you want people to hear from you.
Yes. Well, I am Rhonda Peoples Waters, and I am asking for your vote. I'm asking for your vote because I am qualified with over 20 years of legal experience, and that's diverse legal experience with every type of area of coverage that this type of law or this judicial seat would cover. I have actually practiced, and you want judges who are servants of the community, who have already shown you through their history and their hard work that they are concerned about the community, that they're willing to sacrifice and truly be a servant. And that's what I believe our judges have to be. So we're asking for your support. Go to www.peoplesforjudge.com. Make sure that your voices are heard. Start from the bottom of the ballot, because the judicial races are most important, but they're last on your ballot. So you've got to make it a priority and start from the bottom. Make sure you vote for Rhonda Peoples Waters, and early voting is going on right now. You can vote at any of those precincts. It does not have to be your assigned precinct. And those dates and times are from now till the 16th from 10 to 6 p.m. And then you'll have one last opportunity on August the 18th. And if you wait until election day on August the 18th, you must go to your assigned precinct. You can determine if you're registered and where you're registered to vote by going to DuvalElections.com. And the other thing is, T-Roy, so many people have these absentee ballots outstanding. We've got to encourage people to turn those ballots in. Make sure that you sign it and you date it, and make sure that it is mailed in or dropped back off to the supervisor of elections office, because we need those votes to count. They actually say it's over 70,000+ absentee ballots that have been requested that are still outstanding.
What do you think would be the best way to vote? Because there's three ways you can vote. You can early vote, you can absentee, or you can wait till the day of the election. Which one would you encourage the most? Because you get the same result with all of them, but which one do you adamantly try to make sure people understand is the most important, you think? Because I think the importance is early voting. So
and it is, to me, the simplest. It is the easiest way to make sure that your vote is going to count. You're going to walk in and, obviously sign a little form, and then you're going to vote and push it into the box, and you're going to see that it was counted. So I would definitely recommend that. But absentee voting by mail is simple, but you got to make sure you follow those procedures, and these extra steps are in there for a reason. So if you don't sign it the way that you signed your registration card, or if you don't date it, then it won't count, and it won't be as simple as you being there for early voting or on election day. So you can make it easy and simple only if you're going to follow those rules to the T.
What do you think young people can do to get involved with local elections such as this one right here? Because this one is a historic one.
Absolutely. We had on Sunday a virtual kind of meet and greet with just young people. I think the oldest person was a sophomore in college. Everybody else was either junior or seniors in high school, and some of them not even 18 years of age yet. But we wanted them to know the importance of hearing their voice. So we asked them what was important to them and said, are you willing to sign wave? Are you willing to text and phone bank and give us some ideas on our social media presence? So we have to involve them and let them know that their voices are important. And I am so excited that, we have Deanna and so many other young people. Deanna is a senior this year that are helping us with our campaign to make sure that, we tell our young people, inspire them, say, listen, we don't have diversity on the bench the way that it needs to be. You're the reason that this is going to change, and this is going to benefit you. So we've definitely included them, and we want to hear more from them.
And that's why I asked this question. Why is it important to make sure we have an African-American female judge, especially in Jacksonville, on this bench?
Oh, yes, it is so important that we for the first time elect an African-American female judge. Can you all understand what we're saying? It's 2020 and we have never elected an African-American female judge. And it's important, T-Roy, because we first of all got to open these doors, and we got to say it is important that for future generations, for this generation right now, to understand our brilliance. I mean, I just don't understand what that mindset is that is conveyed to all of those that have been practicing all these years, people that come in the courthouse and rarely see African Americans. Just imagine what that visualization is in your head, that African Americans may not be competent or brilliant to hold these positions of power. And so I know that this is very important for us, for our community, for healing, and just to show that we are all going to work hard to achieve the diversity that our community needs.
Well, the hard work is definitely going on, because I'm seeing more and more Rhonda Peoples Waters signs popping up. They over here on the south side. They over here in the town center. You know, I was trying to take some pictures of them today. I was like, hold up. You know, it like ever since I talked to you yesterday, it's like now I see them more. I'm like, there's a Rhonda sign. There's a Rhonda sign. And what do you think those signs mean for people when they see them now, maybe on the side of the road or on somebody's lawn or whatchamacallit? What do you think that message is being conveyed to people when they see that sign, that lawn sign?
Yeah, it means a lot. And I'll tell you that it's been, if I'm not mistaken, 8 years since an African-American female was even on the ballot in Duval County. Just think about it. For 8 years, we've never even seen an African-American run for judge. And I don't want to say female, I'm going to say actually an African-American period. It's been 8 years. So people are excited to see African-Americans running for these positions and showcasing our brilliance and excellence and ability to follow the law. I believe that it encourages others to do the same. It says to our community that we are a welcoming community, that these seats are not just reserved for certain sectors of people or certain people that have rich behind their name. And that's one of the things that I love about this opportunity to vote. Whether you rich or poor, every time when you walk into that voting booth, you have one vote. That is the one place where we're all equal. And we've really got to take advantage of that. And I'm so glad that we're able to allow our community to see African Americans working hard to get out there and say that we are qualified for these judicial seats.
I never had really the chance to meet John Lewis, but I have I've heard him speak, and I've been in the presence of just hearing certain things from him. And you know, his little catchphrase was "good trouble." Good trouble. And I said now that I was going to say that more. Let's get into some good trouble. What do you think is your catchphrase?
You know, I love the good trouble and necessary trouble. I hear that people have said that, you know, this is our moment in time, and you know, just the protest of 2020. But my phrase is really, this has been a protest for me for over 10 years, since 2009, that I have been fighting this fight and saying that until we have diversity on the bench and the opportunity for people that are qualified, that I will not rest. And that's what my life has spoken of. That's what my professional life, I believe, has spoken well of. And so I hope that that's the message that resonates, is that we are going to continue to have this good trouble or necessary trouble until things are fair and equal. And that's all we want. There's nothing that we're asking to be given to us unfairly. we just want a fair opportunity to showcase the brilliance that we've been given.
Rhonda Peoples Waters .com. You need to log on to Peoples for Judge.
Yes.
.com and hit that donate button. Make sure you make a donation to the cause. What is next for you? What is next for you?
Yes, and I just want to say that we have historically been able to raise an amount that we're aware of no African-American judicial candidate doing before. And that just signifies people's wanting to be a part of this historic campaign. And what's next for me, what's next for us is this win. This win come August the 18th. And it's going to open doors for all of us. And I'm just so excited that we will be able to take part of this. And I also want to say, T. Roy, that in the news, we've seen that Lieutenant Chris Cunningham, he died due to COVID related. He's been involved with JSO for 20 years. I've encountered him, his daughter Shay, his goddaughter Portia. And so we dedicate, this type of good, necessary trouble and hard work to Chris and men like him. There are so many people that have made the sacrifice, and unfortunately, due to COVID, their lives have been shortened. And so to me, that means that we got to take advantage of this moment that we've been gifted and blessed with. Let's do all we can right now, because tomorrow is not promised to us, but let's work it out so that we can open the doors for the future generation.
Listen, man, we opening the doors. And if y'all want to open the door, log on to peoplesforjudge.com and you can open the doors to learn more about Rhonda, just like I did. I learned a lot more yesterday and I learned so much more today. And I just am thankful to be a part of the process and to be a part of this historic moment. When I look back at this, I can always say, hey, T. Roy has done some great things. And this is one of those great things because it just gives me the chills of the same feeling when I was interviewing Barack Obama and Michelle Obama. And, that was probably a very adamant point in my life that made me be like, you know what, man, if we all utilize our voice, because everybody has a voice, and we can make these things happen. And that's why we're encouraging everybody who's watching. If you haven't early voted yet, please do so. You do have time till the 16th. Don't feel like you don't have time, or you can wait till the 18th, or you can absentee ballot. Anything you want to do. But if you want to get it one and done and out the way, early voting is what you do tomorrow. I'm telling you, that's it. So I don't know anything else you would like for us to address, because I'm still on the radio. I'm in Miami, and I almost got to get back on the radio. So anything else?
No, just thank you for sacrificing your time and your voice, your reputation, which is well known for uplifting our community. And just know that we support you 110%.
Listen, I thank you so much. But like I told you yesterday, this is my will be my 21st year being on the radio. And I've seen a lot in our city, and I've seen a lot of the wrongs. I've seen a lot of the misled. And, when I talk to people such as yourself and I feel and know it's the right thing to do, that's what I like to be involved in. I like to be involved in the people who are going to get it done, and the people who are the fighters. And you are a true fighter. You have been fighting, and you're still fighting, and you're still going hard. It's not like you're going to get in there and just stop. No, we still got work to do. And, and I just want people to understand that you have a lot of fire in you to run and do this. So I just say thank you again. And I can't wait till the 18th when they say, hey, do you know who now is Group 6?
Yes.
Rhonda Peoples Waters. I'll be like, hey, I know her. I need my t-shirt.
Thank you. Yes, claiming it.
Yeah. So again, thank you again for letting me be a part of this. And like I said, if you need anything, please, my number, you got my number, you got my Instagram, you got all my connections. You can reach out and touch me. And I am always at your service anytime. I'm always at your service.
Thank you. Well, I want to say that when we have the investiture and the installation, and that's kind of the little formal proceeding to bring the judges in, I want you to cover us. I want you to be there, and we need your voice to be heard. So thank you so much, but that's your invitation.
I'm there. I'm there. Again, hey, it's all about Rhonda Peoples Waters. If you don't know, now you do. Now do what you're supposed to and vote the right way.
You.
That's it.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
So take care. Bye-bye.